In my past life, my favored younger sister stole my marriage arrangement and married the pure-blooded prince of the Azure Phoenix clan in my stead. As for me, my sister knocked me unconscious and sold me to the lowly, mixed-blood Black Crows within the clan. After marriage, my sister was left alone in an empty chamber, bearing no offspring, yet I went on to lay 5 eggs as red as blazing fire, my bloodline reverting to the ancestral vermilion bird, a lineage of incomparable nobility. My legitimate sister was consumed with jealousy to the point of madness. Under the pretense of visiting me, she poisoned both me and my child. In the end, I dragged her down with me to perish together. When I opened my eyes again, my legitimate sister was determined to marry the lowly Black Crow. I laughed, the moment I opened my eyes again and heard my legitimate sister clamoring to marry the lowest ranked, most impure-blooded Black Crow. I knew she had also been reborn. Stepmother. Unable to bear her shouting any longer, slapped her across the face. Have you gone mad? Father was also furious, his chest heaving violently. What kind of nonsense is this, Black Crow? You'd rather seek trouble than marry the crown prince. My sister covered her face and glanced at me. The crown prince's marriage belongs to my elder sister. How could I possibly take what's hers? I laughed. It wasn't like this in my past life. When the marriage proposal from the Azure Phoenix clan's crown prince arrived at our mansion, my younger sister immediately declared she would marry no one but him, but there was actually no need for her to fight for it. Father and stepmother had already entered my room first, ordering me to yield this marriage to my sister, promising to find me a better match in the future. I naturally refused. My marriage to the crown prince of the Phoenix clan was a fine match my mother tirelessly sought for me before she passed away. The current crown prince is the only son of the Phoenix Emperor, a man of impeccable character, truly the finest match one could find in this world. Where could one possibly find a better one? But what could I do even if I disagreed? After mother passed away, the mistress took her place with a child the same age as me. All the good things in the household fell into my legitimate sister's hands. This marriage was no exception. I cried and made a scene, but in the end, my legitimate sister still married the crown prince in grand style. In the end, my parents couldn't resist my sister's demands and could only instruct me. Your sister is the kindest. She's willing to give up such an excellent marriage for you. After you marry the crown prince, do not forget your sister's kindness. You must support her as much as possible. But this marriage was originally mine. I was filled with mockery, but not a trace of it showed on my face. Of course, I replied. After the discussion ended, my family left. As my legitimate younger sister passed by me, she said triumphantly, "Sister, in this life, the one who lays 5 vermilion bird eggs should be me." I laughed. This moment was something I had long planned for. In the previous life, seeing my fierce resistance. My legitimate younger sister, fearing I might cause trouble and ruin her plans, joined forces with our legitimate mother to knock me unconscious and cripple my cultivation. They even skimped on my dowry, sending me off in a small sedan chair to the lowest, most mixed blood, and poorest family, the Black Crows, whose members were addicted to drinking, gambling, and all manner of vices. On the wedding day, the only decent gold hairpin I had was forcibly snatched off by him and taken to the gambling den. After he left, I ran away too, but the place was too remote. I got lost and was caught by the Black Crow, who brutally broke both my legs, trying to run. "No way, I'll have you know, your mother sold you to me. From now on, alive or dead, you belong to me." Every day tormented by the Black Crow, my hatred for my legitimate sister grew deeper. Each day, I was consumed by the mad desire for revenge. To make her experience what it felt like to be married to the Black Crow. On the eve of the wedding, in this life, the man I married was the crown prince of the Azure Phoenix clan. My stepmother no longer dared to act recklessly as she had in my past life, and even went so far as to generously contribute to my dowry. Actually, my dowry had been prepared by my mother while she was still alive, but in my past life, all of it ended up becoming my legitimate sister's. All my relatives and close friends came to visit, congratulating me and adding to my dowry. As for my legitimate sister, not only did no one contribute to her dowry, but she was also mocked at every turn. I watched her humiliation from the sidelines, and my legitimate sister's eyes burned with anger. She lowered her voice and said bitterly, "Don't get too smug, marrying the crown prince, just wait to be neglected, and when I give birth to the vermilion bird and raise it, All the clansmen will bow before me, let's see who dares to ignore me then. The corners of my lips curled into a triumphant smile. Vermilion bird egg. In my previous life, I didn't have the ability to lay a noble vermilion bird egg. Past life, I accidentally discovered that the color of the egg isn't solely determined by genetics. It can also be influenced by diet. That day, I was ecstatic, and a bold idea took root in my mind, to produce eggs with fiery red hues. I ate only red-colored foods every day during my pregnancy, and finally gave birth to 5 blazingly red eggs. I then spent money to spread the news of this far and wide. Within a single day, the story had spread like wildfire. The emperor of the Vermilion Bird clan personally came to inspect them and later declared that my 5 children had ancestral bloodlines reverting to the Vermilion Bird, making their lineage incomparably noble. My legitimate sister, who married with me, has always been left alone in an empty room, suffering from cold neglect. Upon hearing news about me, my legitimate sister was driven mad with anger, consumed by jealousy. She came to visit me, intending to extract from my lips the secret to producing high-quality offspring, and I had been waiting for this moment all along. At the cost of deceiving all my clansmen, I staked my worthless life to gamble on her visit, betting for a chance to be reborn and exchange fates. After feigning reluctance for a long time, I deliberately misled her, claiming my aptitude was above average, with the only variable being the black crow. The black crow's bloodline is impure, carrying traces of several divine beasts like the vermilion bird, golden crow, and phoenix in its ancestry. The chance of bloodline reversion is higher. After obtaining the answer, my legitimate sister immediately sought to kill me and my 5 children. Well prepared, I dragged her down to perish together. I was certain she would use that divine artifact of rebirth. It was a gift from our mother years ago. Though she had stolen it, the artifact required my blood to reactivate. I won the bet. In this life, the bitterness of marrying the wrong person should also be tasted by my sister. On the wedding day, the handsome and extraordinary crown prince of the Phoenix clan, dressed in wedding robes, came to fetch his bride on a tall horse. Upon arriving at the residence, he did not even dismount to greet my family or escort me to the bridal sedan, treating me with the utmost coldness and disdain. In contrast, the black crow who had also come to fetch the bride was now somewhat presentable after being tidied up. He dismounted to receive his bride, patiently going through the wedding rituals with my sister, playing poetry games like flying flowers, and finally carried her into the sedan chair with a beaming smile. As for me, I was carried to the sedan chair by my clansman. The legitimate younger sister, feeling she had regained the upper hand, wore a triumphant expression. The stepmother by her side also smiled for the first time, muttering under her breath, "Humph, what does a good family background matter? She hasn't even entered the door yet and is already suffering such humiliation. Who knows how she'll endure the days to come?" I raised an eyebrow. Nothing in this world is ever perfect. In my past life, my younger sister married the crown prince, the only son of the emperor, securing her position as the future empress with endless wealth and glory. Yet she remained unsatisfied because the prince treated her coldly. She would often write pretentious letters to boast to me, saying, "I lack for nothing in material comforts, but there is no love." Meanwhile, the recipient of those letters struggled every day just to put food on the table. Living has already exhausted all my strength. What's there to fear without love? An empty pot is far more terrifying, and love cannot possibly bloom from it. I glanced at the dowry behind my legitimate sister. In this life, with less embezzlement of my dowry and fewer contributions from the clan, my sister's wedding procession looked rather shabby. Still, it was enough for them to squander for a while. After the wedding ceremony concluded, I was escorted to the bridal chamber. Seeing the men's boots appear beneath the veil, I took a deep breath. The wedding night from my past life remains vivid in my memory. Back then, I was forced to marry Black Crow, and he brutally took me without regard for my suffering, no matter how much I agonized. Even more horrifying was the fact that Black Crow's domain was a den of vice, where groups of men would frequently barge into my room day and night. With my cultivation destroyed and my body crippled, I became nothing more than prey on their chopping block. The legitimate daughter of the Prime Minister's household had been reduced to a plaything of the lowest class, torn apart and minced by them, by fate. Then thrown into a boiling oil pan to be fried over and over. How could I not hate? how could I not hate? The prince casually lifted my bridal veil. I raised my eyes to look at him coyly, whispering sweetly, "Husband, let's sleep." His gaze held no particular emotion as he looked at me. "I'm going to the study." Having said that, he was about to leave. In the previous life, he did the same. Leaving my sister alone on her wedding night, I rushed over and hugged his waist. "Husband, have I done something wrong that displeases you?" I pressed my body against his back and sobbed softly. "At the flower viewing banquet during our engagement, I took a liking to you at first sight. Tonight is our wedding night, and I want to be close to you." The crown prince trembled slightly and softened his tone. "It's not that I dislike it, I just want to be alone for a while, really." I wiped away my tears and released my hold on his waist. "Then go ahead, husband, I'll be fine on my own." After my mother passed away, my stepmother and father didn't pay much attention to me either. I've grown used to being alone. "As long as you can visit me occasionally, I'll be content." The crown prince turned his head, his expression showing some hesitation. "Yes." I curled the corners of my lips and offered the wine to him. "Then, could my husband drink this wedding cup with me before leaving?" "All right." The crown prince reached out and took it. I took another cup, slightly loosened my collar, wrapped my arm around his, and tilted my head back to sip slowly. Some wine trickled down my chin, disappearing into my snow-white neck, then meandering downward. The crown prince's ears turned red, my hand trembled slightly, and the remaining wine spilled onto the chest of his wedding robe. "Ah!" I let out a soft exclamation, blushing shyly as I helped him remove his wedding robe. He stared at me, his expression unreadable. "You've soiled my wedding robe, what should be done about it?" I chuckled lightly, wrapping my arms around his neck and whispering breathlessly in his ear. "Then, shall I offer myself as compensation, my husband?" The next moment, I was swept off my feet and carried into the bed curtains. That night, the red candles warmed the bed, and the crimson waves of the quilt rolled. The next day, I rose early to wash and dress. The prince propped himself up on the bed, revealing a chest covered in red marks, and squinted his long eyes at me, his tone dangerous. "Bella, I underestimated you. You're awake." Blushing, I stepped forward and handed him a pastry wrapped in oiled paper. "Are you hungry? Have this to tide you over." "But that's not what I want to eat." He reached out, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me back onto the bed. In just one night's time, the relationship between me and Crown Prince William progressed by leaps and bounds. Crown Prince William no longer maintained his aloof demeanor, instead transforming into a constantly lustful beast. The third day, I returned to my maiden home together with Crown Prince William. After returning to the mansion, I noticed my younger sister affectionately chatting with Heya. Seeing me approach alone, she let out a light chuckle. "Sister, didn't the Crown Prince accompany you back home? On the day of your wedding, his attitude was particularly cold. It seems he's not satisfied with you. Sister, looks like you'll have a tough time ahead when it comes to marriage and life. You really need someone who cares for you." My husband dotes on me in every way, even fretting over a single mosquito bite. Listening to my sister's boast, I took a deep breath, suppressing the resentment in my chest. Even married to such a worthless man, my sister still lived a comfortable and carefree life. It was all because the Prime Minister's residence stood firmly behind her, providing unwavering support. Even if she married the wrong person, she could still divorce and remarry. How could she possibly end up in the same situation as my past life? On the high hall, my father and stepmother witnessed this scene and finally felt at ease. "Very well, we don't expect you to achieve great wealth or status. We only wish for you to live a contented life." But the next moment, Crown Prince William pushed the door open and walked in. "Bella, I noticed you didn't eat much this morning, so I bought some freshly baked peach blossom cakes. I'm not sure if they suit your taste, but please try one." He took out an oil paper package from his pocket, unwrapped it, and brought the peach blossom cake to my lips. "Delicious." "Then I'll have a taste too," he said, picking up the crumbs at the corner of my lips with his fingertips and tasting them, his words carrying a double meaning. "Delicious." My legitimate sister beside me glared at me fiercely, her eyes almost spitting fire. Father and stepmother looked at my legitimate sister, sighing deeply. "I'll take my leave first." My younger sister could no longer stay and left with these words, pushing the door open to depart. As she passed by me, she caressed her belly, leaned close to my ear, and whispered, "Don't rejoice too soon." Within a year, I will make sure you fall out of favor. Make me fall out of favor, with her offspring from the black crow. In the following days, William and I were inseparable, eating, living, and cultivating together, our bond growing stronger by the day. Time flies when one cultivates immortality, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. On this day, I received a letter from my younger sister. In the letter, she mentioned that she was about to give birth and had been dreaming every night of a vermilion bird entering her womb. She pleaded with me to bring the Grand State Preceptor to assist with her delivery. I held the letter between my fingers, curling my lips into a smile, as my younger sister wished. It shall be, a dream of a vermilion bird entering your abdomen. William beside me wore a thoughtful expression. Could it be the awakening of ancestral vermilion bird bloodline? This matter is of great significance. We must indeed seek the Grand State Preceptor's intervention. Divine beasts not only struggle to produce offspring, but their bloodlines are also becoming increasingly impure, with each generation's talent inferior to the last. It has already been several 100,000 years since a vermilion bird last appeared in the world. If one could truly achieve a bloodline reversion to the vermilion bird, it would undoubtedly lead the avian races back to glory. Good, good, good. Summon the Grand State Preceptor immediately, after giving the order. The Emperor of Phoenix turned to me with a kind expression and said, Bella, I recall that you and your sister got married on the same day. Now that your sister is about to give birth, you and Junior should also hurry up a bit. I let out a bitter laugh. The nobler the bloodline, the harder it is to conceive. In my previous life, I became pregnant in the first month after marriage, nearly 3 years earlier than my legitimate sister. Unfortunately, there were too many beasts who violated me. I couldn't protect myself, let alone my child, and I would miscarry within a few days. After another pregnancy ended in miscarriage, the reason I could uncover the secret between diet and eggshells was through countless tears and heartache. By the time I finally managed to give birth successfully, it was already the 5th year of my marriage. 5 years had drained all my vitality, leaving me aged, haggard, and utterly exhausted. The beasts around me lost all appetite at the sight of me. Not a shred of interest remaining. Father, we've been trying our best, working tirelessly all year round. The Bellas all have highly fertile constitutions. Since Bella hasn't conceived yet, the issue might lie with me. William stepped in front of me. No matter, whatever the outcome may be, your efforts are what truly count. The Phoenix Emperor changed the subject. Let's go. We shall also set off together to witness this once in hundreds of thousands of years spectacle, within less than half a day. The news of the younger sister's prophetic dream had spread throughout the Hundred Birds clan. Moreover, the story grew more and more fantastical as it spread. The versions of the tale became increasingly varied. Rumors spread that a great power was born from the younger sister's womb to repay her kindness. Others claimed the younger sister was a celestial being descending to endure mortal trials, thus attracting the vermilion bird to be reborn through her. There were even whispers that the Black Crow's bloodline was of unimaginable nobility, hence its ability to give birth to the vermilion bird. Because of this, both the younger sister and the Black Crow became the center of attention, with countless visitors flocking to see them, making them the talk of the town. When William and I arrived at my younger sister's residence, my father and stepmother were also there. Their faces were glowing with joy as they received compliments from everyone. Not at all, it was just a dream, nothing worth mentioning, father said modestly, though the smile on his face couldn't be contained. Not so, the Emperor of Phoenix appeared, striding up to my father and said, dreaming of a vermilion bird entering the womb during pregnancy. Such a case hasn't been seen in nearly 100,000 years. I suspect it must be a great being descending to the mortal realm with a mission, which is why such a prenatal dream occurred. Upon seeing the Emperor of Phoenix appear, the crowd immediately knelt in reverence. My younger sister and the Black Crow also emerged from the house to pay their respects. Please rise quickly. The Emperor of Phoenix personally helped his legitimate sister to her feet. My sister gave me a triumphant glance, stroking her pregnant belly as she walked proudly up to me. Sister, still not with child, you'll need to work harder at that. My belly is so big with this pregnancy. I must be carrying 4 or 5 offspring. I smiled faintly. In this regard, I cannot compare to my younger sister. My sister raised her chin haughtily and said, indeed, but before her words had fully left her lips, her face twisted in pain as she clutched her stomach and let out a loud cry. "She's going into labor." Someone in the crowd shouted the words, though no one knew who. The grand state preceptor hurried forward, supporting the legitimate younger sister as she was helped inside, followed by basins of hot water being carried into the room. Under the eager gazes of the crowd waiting outside, the grand state preceptor emerged with a furrowed brow, holding a tray bearing a grayish-green, speckled egg. "It's born, according to the investigation. They are indeed 3 crow eggs." After the imperial astrologer finished speaking, the entire hall erupted in uproar. What? Didn't she say she dreamed of a vermilion bird flying into her womb? How could she give birth to 3 crow eggs? That's right, her husband is a crow. What else would she give birth to but a crow? William beside me also looked astonished. How could this happen? Having anticipated this, I smiled and said, "Perhaps my sister dreamed at night what she dwelled on by day." The stepmother, surrounded by the crowd, turned deathly pale. Father's face turned extremely grim as he listened to the discussions around him. "Impossible. This can't be." At that moment, the pale-faced legitimate younger sister rushed out of the room, screaming hysterically, "I was supposed to lay 5 vermilion bird eggs. Who was it? Who swapped my child?" She rushed up to me, her face twisted with fury, and snarled, "You wretch, was it you? Did you steal my child out of jealousy? Give me back my child." My sister's nails dug into the back of my hand, sharp and stinging. "Sister, you're hurting me," I murmured, my delicate brows furrowing slightly. "Let go," William coldly rebuked her. "Haven't you gone mad enough yet?" Slap. Her father, who had always doted on her, suddenly rushed over and struck her hard across the face. "Enough. How dare you offend the crown princess? Get back to your room this instant." After speaking, father turned to the crown prince with an apologetic expression. "I sincerely apologize. My daughter has been emotionally unstable today, which led to such improper behavior. Please forgive her, Your Highness and Crown Princess. Times have changed. I am no longer the pitiful little thing they could bully and order around, but the favored Crown Princess of the Phoenix clan. Father, you hit me." Her eyes widened in disbelief as she touched her swollen cheek. Slap. The response to her was another resounding slap, accompanied by father's furious roar. "Apologize to the Crown Princess, now." Immediately, the stepmother, witnessing this scene, was heartbroken and kept giving me meaningful glances. Yeah, with just a word from me, this matter could easily be swept under the rug. But why? I pretended not to see and coldly stared at my younger sister, waiting for her apology. Faced with reality, tears welled up in my younger sister's eyes. After humiliatingly apologizing to me, she ran back to her room without looking back. "It's fine. She's emotionally unstable after childbirth, I understand." I watched her retreating figure before finally speaking. "The fall from heaven to hell must be hard for my legitimate sister to bear, right? But no matter how hard it is for her, it can't compare to even 1/10,000th of what I suffered in my past life. Father and stepmother have always cared most about face. Now that they've suffered such a disgrace, they'll probably find it hard to sleep or eat in the days to come." After watching this farce, the Emperor of Phoenix looked utterly disappointed. After exchanging a brief farewell with my father, he left directly. Once he departed, many others at the scene also began to take their leave one after another. In the blink of an eye, the once bustling courtyard was nearly empty. Before leaving, I heard my father's furious roar from inside the house. "Crystal, is this the vermilion bird egg you told me about? Is this the good man you want to marry? After 2 rounds of your nonsense, I've been humiliated twice. I'm so disappointed in you. From now on, I won't bother with you anymore. You can fend for yourself." After yelling at my younger sister, my father chased after me and the crown prince. He wanted to host a banquet to warmly entertain us. During the feast, my father held my hand and brought up past events, attempting to mend our father-daughter relationship. My stepmother wore an expression of unwillingness. But there was nothing she could do to change the situation. She had no choice but to try to win me over. I did not refuse. What I want is for my legitimate sister to become a discarded pawn. Let her taste bit by bit the bitter fruits she sowed in her past life. Once my legitimate sister is completely ruined, my father and stepmother will have no one to rely on but me. During the banquet, I stepped away once. As soon as I opened the door, I encountered my pale-faced younger sister. Dressed in thin clothing, she stood barefoot outside for a long time, with peach blossoms from the branches already covering her shoulders. Tell me, what must I do to lay a vermilion bird's egg? Her face was twisted with madness as she shook my shoulders violently. Phoenix egg, what are you talking about, little sister? I looked at her with a bewildered expression, clearly taken aback. Stop pretending. Do you really think marrying the crown prince changes anything? Your fate is still in my hands. In your past life, you fooled around with so many different men. I've kept all the evidence. Tell me, if I were to hand these over to the crown prince and make them public, how long do you think you'd last as his consort? The legitimate younger sister spoke as she took out a memory stone. Soon, the sound of my unbearable suffering came from within. No, I'm already pregnant with a child. I beg you, spare me, please. I'll kneel and kowtow to you. The other party let out a sinister laugh. Spare you. What does the child in your belly have to do with me? Memories of my past life surged back like a tidal wave. I was trapped in this painful memory, struggling to breathe as if drowning. Seeing my agony, my younger sister laughed with delight. She tilted her head, feigning innocence as she said, "Let me tell you, when you were suffering, I stood right outside the door and watched. In fact, many of your lovers were introduced to you by me. Let me tell you, I've wished for your death for a long time. We're both father's children, yet you were pampered in the mansion since childhood, while mother and I were just shameful outsiders, constantly gossiped about." My chest heaved violently, unable to suppress the overwhelming killing intent in my heart. I suddenly rushed forward, gripping her neck tightly with both hands, the veins on the back of my hands bulging. Cough. My younger sister struggled to breathe but still managed to speak intermittently. Do you think I wouldn't guard against you? From the day you married the crown prince, I made dozens of copies. If I die, someone will spread the news through every street and alley. I stared at her flushed face, the corners of my lips curling into an eerie smile. My dear sister, with so many men in my past life, how could I possibly know who fathered those 5 vermilion bird eggs? After speaking, I released my grip. These words made my legitimate sister suddenly understand, and she stumbled away. I stared at her retreating figure, murderous intent flashing in my eyes. After the evening banquet ended, I informed my father about the contents of the memory stone in my sister's hand, forcing him to choose between me and my legitimate sister. If you side with me, I want him to personally deal with my stepsister and stepmother. Finally, I must make it clear to you, my sister cannot lay a vermilion bird egg. With that, I turned and left. This is the last chance I'm giving him. Shortly after returning to the palace with William, I received a letter from my legitimate sister. Unfortunately, this time, father chose me. Father helped me investigate the descendants with vermilion bird bloodline around the black crow, one by one. This time, I will surely lay the vermilion bird egg. I reached out and burned the letter to ashes. At every crucial moment, father steadfastly chose my younger sister. In my past life, when I was forced to marry the black crow and lived a life worse than death, did father truly not know? No, he just took my sister's side, unwilling to spare even the slightest effort for a mere pawn like me. I closed my eyes, once again reminding myself in my heart, Bella, the only one you can ever rely on is yourself, Bella. What are you muttering about? William wrapped his arms around my waist from behind, his warm breath brushing against the nape of my neck. He was talking about you. I smiled in response, but my eyes remained perfectly clear. Really? William didn't press further, simply taking my hand and planting a light kiss on it. Bella, you can tell me if something's on your mind. We are one as husband and wife, sharing both glory and disgrace. Let me be your support. All right. My heart skipped a beat. Yet I chose to conceal it without hesitation. I don't trust him, nor do I trust anyone else. Afterwards, I actively participated in the affairs of the avian clan, striving to cultivate my own loyal followers, clip my father's wings, and pull him down from his position as prime minister. Since he cannot be of use to me, the only way is to find a way to overthrow him. William became the sharpest blade in my hand. In just a few short years, father was repeatedly framed, facing both internal and external crises, until only a glamorous but hollow shell remained. The legitimate sister who relied on father for survival also found life increasingly difficult. She could no longer maintain her former elegance, having dismissed many servants and resorted to selling shops, jewelry, and accessories. while her clothing grew increasingly shabby. Not a trace of the dignified air of a prime minister's legitimate daughter remained, but this isn't enough, far from enough. I want her to climb high only to fall hard, to utterly sink to the bottom, suffering a living hell day and night. Report to the Crown Princess. A letter from the Prime Minister's residence has arrived. A servant presented an invitation. I raised my hand to open it, the letter bearing my father's flamboyant handwriting. Turns out my legitimate younger sister had sent joyful news again. She had laid 3 eggs as red as blazing fire. Father hosted a banquet to invite all the ministers, bestowing blessings upon the 3 unhatched eggs to encourage their early hatching. Reading the letter, I curled the corners of my lips. My younger sister was obsessed with hatching a vermilion bird egg. Of course I had to help her fulfill that wish. Previously, when father and my sister were desperately searching for the descendant with vermilion bird bloodline from our past lives, I secretly arranged for him to be sent to them, overjoyed. My sister swiftly divorced the black crow and immediately became engaged to him instead. That she successfully gave birth to 3 offspring as red as blazing fire was also because I secretly bribed her maids to replace her daily meals with as many crimson spirit fruits as possible. Is there some happy news? Bella looked so cheerful. William came over with his hands behind his back, asking curiously, "It is happy news." I handed the invitation to William. "Another one," William sighed. "Father will probably use this as another reason to pressure us. Then I'll have to trouble you to take the lead, dear husband." Father frowns just a little, and people are scared to death. I hugged his arm and coquettishly acted spoiled. "What's in it for me?" His voice rose at the end, teasing like a little hook. Then, I stood on tiptoe and kissed the corner of his lips. After the storm of passion, gazing at the sleeping face before me, my heart ached with an unbearable swell of emotion. Over these years, I've planted many spies around my younger sister, hoping to obtain the memory stone in her possession, yet I've achieved nothing. Once her phoenix egg hatches and she falls into utter despair, she will undoubtedly choose to fight me to the death. If anything goes wrong and she plays the contents of the memory stone for William, could he truly accept it? I've prepared for the worst in my heart. After William woke up, he and I rode in the carriage together to visit my legitimate sister's residence. Without a doubt, the bloodline has reverted to the ancestral vermilion bird. Just look at this color. It's clearly extraordinary. The courtyard was bustling with a noisy crowd. Father and stepmother beamed with joy as they greeted the guests, all previous gloom swept away. Meanwhile, my legitimate younger sister held 3 eggs as red as fire in her arms, her face glowing with delight. I curled the corners of my lips. This time, father, who bet on my legitimate sister, is bound to be disappointed again. As everyone noticed the crown prince and me approaching, they came forward to pay their respects. William exchanged pleasantries with the officials present, while I, feeling somewhat nauseous, excused myself to rest nearby. My legitimate sister found her way to the rest area and greeted me with a beaming smile. "I owe my gratitude to you, dear sister, for enabling me to lay 3 vermilion bird eggs. You should also hurry up yourself, sister." Looking at her hypocritical face, I felt nauseous. "What's wrong with you, sister? Are you feeling unwell?" My half-sister feigned concern for me, "But the 100 birds blessing ceremony is about to begin. Why don't you stay and watch before leaving?" She spoke while dragging me by the hand to the window. "Sister, I want you to witness this moment with your own eyes." In the courtyard, the blessing ceremony officially began. All the officials present transformed into their beast forms, dancing and singing around the 3 fiery red eggs at the center of the courtyard, channeling their spiritual energy. In just a short while, the 3 eggshells began to crack. As time passed, the cracks on the eggshells multiplied, eventually forming a small hole. Beside them, the father and stepmother held their breath, their eyes filled with anticipation. The hole grew larger, and finally, a reddish, featherless chick emerged from the shell. The other 2 bald little chicks also hatched. Cheep cheep. The 3 chicks chirped with their eyes closed. Everyone present was dumbfounded. This doesn't seem to have the slightest connection to the vermilion bird. Isn't this just a chicken? Logically, when a divine bird descends, there should be auspicious signs from the heavens. Why is there nothing at all? Ha ha ha. Chickens are also descendants of the vermilion bird. Who knows? These 3 chickens might have a chance to cultivate into vermilion birds someday. The stepmother's face turned a kaleidoscope of colors as she stood frozen in place, listening to the murmurs of the crowd. Father was so enraged that he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. With hopes shattered, the legitimate younger sister also went mad. She stared at the 3 chickens in utter disbelief. How could this happen? How did it come to this? My vermilion bird. How could it turn into 3 chicken chicks? She suddenly grabbed my hand. Speak, tell me, what exactly is going on, sister? Nurture it a little more, and who knows, there might be earth-shaking changes, I said with a beaming smile. My younger sister's eyes were vacant. Nurture it, I'll nurture it a little more. The next moment, stepmother entered the room with a dark expression and slapped my legitimate sister hard across the face. Slap, still keeping it. Crystal, don't be foolish. After all this, can't you still see the truth? All of this was a trap set by your dear elder sister, just to make you voluntarily give up the position of crown princess. Use your brain properly. Your husband has such thin vermilion bird bloodline. How could you possibly give birth to a vermilion bird? I warned you long ago. But you were like someone possessed, stubbornly ruining your life to this state. Your days of good fortune are over in this lifetime. The one chance to start over was wasted by you, and now there'll never be another. Upon hearing this, the younger sister went mad. No, I don't believe it. As soon as she said this, she tried to run outside, but she ran straight into her father. Bang, without mercy. Her father kicked her hard in the chest, like a kite with its string cut. The legitimate younger sister was sent crashing to the ground. Crystal, from now on I sever all father-daughter ties with you. Consider yourself no longer my child. Having said that, he hurriedly rushed to my side to pledge his loyalty to me. You bitch, you wretched bitch, I won't let you get away with this. My legitimate sister's face twisted with venom as she witnessed this scene, struggling to crawl away. Beast. Father's eyes bulged with rage as he delivered another kick that shattered her spine, personally destroying her cultivation. I watched this scene, staring at him with a mocking half-smile. Now you're picking sides to show loyalty. Too late. It's too late now. My wings have fully grown, while the Prime Minister's mansion is about to collapse. Tell me, where are those memory stones? Speak, and I'll spare your mother's life. I crouched down, lifted my younger sister's chin, and spoke casually. My younger sister smiled, her face twisted with madness. Even if our parents die, I'll never tell you. If I can't have peace, no one will. My heart sank. In the end, we still came to this point. Wretched beast. Father was furious upon hearing this and came over to interrogate her relentlessly, but my sister kept her lips tightly sealed, refusing to speak no matter what. Father then turned to me and said, "Daughter, don't worry. I will keep her under strict surveillance and ensure she has no chance to reveal anything." I responded and stepped out of the room. Summoning the hidden guard, I handed him the letter I had written long ago but had delayed sending. "Deliver it to your master," the hidden guard said in surprise. "The master is right outside the door, chatting with the officials." I know. With those words, I turned and left. I traveled thousands of miles to the Beast Man Kingdom, years ago. I had bought a house in a picturesque location within the Beast Man Kingdom as my fallback plan. In the letter I gave to William, I told him the truth about my past life. I also included my current address. I reached out and touched my belly. Actually, I'm already pregnant. If he can accept it and comes to find me here, I will tell him about the pregnancy. If he cannot, then we will sever all ties. I will raise the child alone. Counting the time, it has been over half a year now. And my body is becoming increasingly cumbersome. It seems he isn't coming back. Lying on the long chair, I felt somewhat sad, but it was within my expectations. However, life now is not bad at all. Apart from 3 meals a day and cultivation, I also opened a small medicine shop, living a peaceful life. Sister, who is he? You're talking to yourself again. The orc in the shop brought over dinner while curiously asking me questions. He was the orc I picked up half a year ago. At that time, he was severely injured and collapsed outside the herbal medicine shop I ran. I saved his life from the brink of death, but he had lost his memory, nowhere else to go, so he stayed in the shop to help me out. I suppressed the bitterness in my heart. My ex-husband, oh, he nodded obediently and placed dinner on the square table in front of me. Sister, hurry and eat your dinner. I shook my head. No more. I've gained too much weight. sister was too thin before. Now you're just a little plumper, the beast man younger brother smiled, revealing two little fangs, and gently tapped my belly with his fingertip. Besides, sister is now eating for two. Unable to resist the beast man brother's enthusiasm, I picked up my chopsticks. At this moment, a faint sigh came from behind me. Bella. I turned around and saw Prince William standing behind me. He had grown noticeably thinner, with a thick beard covering his face, looking weary as if he had endured hardships. You're pregnant, his eyes reddened, his figure swaying unsteadily as he pointed at the beast man beside me, his voice trembling. Is it his child? I hesitated for a moment. Finally, I sighed. Your Highness, it's been over half a year already. Yes, ever since I received the letter over half a year ago, I've been searching for you everywhere, not daring to stop for a single day. William, with reddened eyes, took out that letter. A look of surprise crossed my face as I read the letter and realized the address I had left was blurred by tears. So it turns out, it wasn't that he hadn't looked for me. My heart was filled with mixed emotions, and just as I was about to tell him the truth, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. I'm going into labor. Quick, fetch the midwife. Heavenly blessings descended, with auspicious light stretching for miles. The fiery sunset clouds transformed into a gigantic bird with outstretched wings soaring high in the sky. Even more astonishingly, the bird's wings were fluttering ever so slightly, as if gliding through the 9 heavens. It's born. Immediately after, the midwife emerged joyfully, cradling 2 vibrant, emerald green eggs. William rushed into the delivery room without a glance. Bella, how are you feeling now? Your lips have turned pale. Have some spirit fruit to replenish your energy. He helped me sit up and brought the fruit to my lips. You don't mind? I lazily glanced at him. Mind what? Not to mention things from our past life. I don't even care about matters in this lifetime. His voice sounded muffled. What should I do? In this life, I'm completely under your thumb. My future family status is doomed. I snorted. Liar, William, under the vast sky. Who could be more alluring than you? Divorce him and come away with me, he sighed as he spoke, pulling me tightly into his embrace as if holding a long-lost treasure. I've known for a while that you were keeping something from me. I could have uncovered the truth in countless ways, but I chose not to investigate. I wanted you to tell me yourself, but this wait only led to your sudden departure without a word. A scorching liquid trickled down my neck. Startled, I realized he was shedding tears. Bella, try to believe in me, okay? I will become your strongest support. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. Finally, I whispered softly, okay, as the words fell. The beast man brother carried the 2 eggs before me. Sister, look at the children. William stared at the 2 emerald green eggs in astonishment for a long moment before hesitantly asking, Bella, are these our children? Yes. After I nodded, he became ecstatic, hugging me while alternating between tears and laughter. For a man, he certainly shed more tears than I did. The Emperor of the Azure Phoenix has arrived. William and I quickly rose to receive the imperial presents. Father, why have you followed us? William asked in surprise. The Emperor of Phoenix burst into laughter upon seeing the 2 eggs on the bed. A divine omen has descended, heralding great fortune. I saw it from thousands of miles away. What are you waiting for? Escort the crown princess back to the palace at once. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.